death row inmate Brandon Bernard has been executed on December 10, 2020, in Indiana after last-minute clemency pleas were rejected by the U.S. Supreme Court. Bernard was convicted of murder in 1999 when he was a teenager, and is the youngest offender to be executed by the federal government in nearly 70 years. He was given the death penalty for his involvement in the murder of Todd and Stacy Bagley in June 1999. He was one of 5 teenagers accused of robbing the pair and forcing them into the boot of their car in Texas. They were shot as they lay in the boot by 19-year-old accomplice Christopher Vialva before Bernard set the car alight. Defense lawyers say both of the Bagleys probably died before the car was set on fire, and an independent investigator hired by the defense said Stacy had been medically dead before the fire. However, government testimony during the trial said that although Todd Bagley had died instantly, Stacy had had soot in her airway, signaling that she had died from smoke inhalation and not the gunshot wound. Bernard's lawyers say he feared what would happen to him if he refused to follow the orders of Vialva, who was executed in September. Others involved in the incident were given prison sentences as they were under 18 and classed as juveniles. Bernard's lawyers argued that he should be given life in prison without parole, as, throughout his time in jail, he maintained a good record and worked with outreach programs to stop people from getting involved in crime. Bernard was barely a legal adult at the time of his crime. The federal government hasn't executed someone who committed a crime when they were that young in 70 years. In his life in incarceration, sentenced to death, Bernard lived a model life of reform. He became a friend to other men in his same circumstance. He was one of the go-to guys for help in here, one of them said. In his clemency petition, Bernard's lawyers said he took part in religious activities and outreach to young people. Even the prosecutor in his case supported a commutation of his sentence because of his remarkable record. Nevertheless, the Supreme Court of the United States was unmoved. Federal death row inmates are confined in a prison in TROUGH, Indiana, in what's called a special confinement unit. They are kept alone in cells for 23 hours a day. Bernard was locked in his cell for 23 hours a day for 17 years. Visits with his 2 daughters, his mother, brother, and sister took place through a pane of glass. It has been reported had been listening to classical music and that he had taken up crocheting. He was making sweater patterns and sharing them with other inmates in a crocheting group. His cell was filled with yarn. In the last few days of Bernard's life, high-profile lawyers close to the Trump administration, Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr, joined his defense team. Celebrities and hundreds of thousands of regular people protested his case online. The Supreme Court was asked to stay the execution. Bernard's supporters inundated Donald Trump with appeals to intervene. None of it mattered. The Supreme Court ruled 6-3 to proceed with the execution. The Trump White House made no statement regarding Bernard. At 9:07 p.m., prison officials began the process of killing him. Kim Kardashian West sent numerous tweets about Bernard's case to her followers in the run-up to the execution, urging them to get behind the cause and raise awareness. She tweets, "Brandon Bernard should not be executed. He was 18 at the time. He was not a shooter." The prosecutor and 5 of the jurors now support clemency. He's spent decades in prison without a write-up, helping at-risk youth. There's bipartisan support for his commutation. Todd Bagley's family said it had been very difficult to wait 21 years for the sentence imposed on those who cruelly participated in the destruction of our children to be finally completed. A wave of outrage from human rights group, activists, elected officials, and others over the execution. Bernard was 40 years old when he was executed by lethal injection at a federal prison in TROUGH, Indiana. After the U.S. Supreme Court rejected a last-minute appeal to stay the execution, and Donald Trump did not publicly respond to calls for him to intervene. After 17 years without a federal execution, the Trump administration has executed 9 inmates since July, and plans 5 more executions before Joe Biden takes office on the 20th of January 2020. Bernard directed his last words to the family of Todd and Stacey Bagley, the couple he and Vialva were convicted of killing. "I'm sorry," he said. "That's the only words that I can say that completely capture how I feel now and how I felt that day." Bernard was pronounced dead at 21:27 local time on Thursday the 10th of December 2020, at a penitentiary in the city of TROUGH. Thank you for watching.